Oh, it's gonna be a spicy one today. Who could have ever foreseen this fucking situation? Yeah, it's not like, you know, the writing was on the wall, you know, with everything that happened. Who could have foreseen this? Oh, that's terrible. What happened? Oh no. Oh, as the title suggests, and you have probably already heard, Netflix's version of Cowboy Bebop has been cancelled. Slow clap, round of applause for this series. Oh my god. You know, I think it really proves and just shows how don't fuck with something that's already good. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And this just kind of proves the hubris that some of these adaptations have when it comes to adapting it and making it seem like, oh yeah, we're the ones that's in the right. We're fixing the problems of the anime. You know, like, you know, that thing that we're taking from and was so good and was so popular that, you know, that defined a generation for young anime fans. Yeah, we're fixing that. Yeah, see, it was a problem until we came in. Then we remodeled it, and you're gonna like it, and you're gonna accept it because we changed it. We made it less problematic somehow, even though that series really isn't that problematic. But you know what? Don't think about it. Just enjoy. Just consume. You know that's all it pretty much they were going for. Clearly, with this one, I will say. Before you ask, no, I have not watched the series. I couldn't give an inkling of a fuck, honestly. That would require me rewatching the anime, and I could make the time, but not right now. I'm going through a lot of stuff, and there's still some stuff that I've got to watch, kind of deal, and I've been going. I just recently went through a bit of a Spider-Man marathon, you know, to get ready for No Way Home. Kind of deal. I still gotta watch Arcane. There's the new season of Tiger King, and then of course there's the Witcher series coming out. So, and then there's all the other TV series that I've been watching that I need to finish or continue. I'm fucking behind. Yeah, it's a problem I have. But yeah, but even then, I just couldn't give an inkling of a shit because then I thought, well, maybe I'll just like go in with the idea of it by itself, but I just couldn't care. That's the problem, was that I just didn't give a shit. I mean, it really was just a thing where I saw it and I was just like, this just looks awful. This just looks so fucking bad. I mean, the trailers gave me no confidence, so despite everybody saying, give it a chance, but it was like, why should I waste my breath on this one, you know? Like, I really didn't even feel the need, it didn't even feel like talking about it. Like, even the photos and everything, I've kind of been, if anything, I've been having more of a beef with the fucking Resident Evil movie, which, yes, I am aware it has come out, but, I'll wait until the Blu-ray. And then watch it, and then maybe I'll do a full-scale analysis of it, because I've already heard it's bad. No shit, huh? But, anyway, back to Cowboy Bebop. It just looked bad. It looked like your average live-action anime adaptation. Total fucking shit. And, you know, and what's depressing, too, is I love John Cho as an actor. I think the man is genuinely good. He's great as an actor. He's funny. He can do dramatic roles. And from what I have seen, like, I've seen clips on the internet, I've seen, like, you know, a few scenes, he doesn't look too bad. Like, he doesn't seem bad as Spike Spiegel. It's like, well, that surprised me. It's everything else that's the problem, because the clips I've seen, holy shit, it's, bad. I mean, you can't have, man, it just, it baffles the mind, honestly, that, what makes you think this is good?
Sounds to me like blackmail.
You're damn right it is, because, Jet, you are black and you are male.
In law. Yes, you are. You're spy, cowboy, bounty hunter for hire. Wake up! I have a job for you. A bounty. Welcome to the axe, motherfuckers!
But yeah, so that doesn't exactly help, me wanting to watch the series kind of deal. So when you have that, and then just the sheer fact that they just slapped the fans in the face, too. The way they've handled this has been absolutely awful. And if anything, has really just shown, hey, the minute you start talking shit to your fans, that's when you start having problems, essentially, and is not going to lead to a successful show. Even the most innocuous questions, it's not even oh yeah, I'm gonna really school them with this question kind of deal. There was one dude who literally fucking just all he did was just ask a question to the Cowboy Bebop Netflix account, and they fucking responded with a really sarcastic tweet, because there was somebody that was why does that matter, or that's an attention to detail that doesn't really matter, and then they responded, and some of the most innocuous statements that could be made about the show was just met with such piss and vinegar, essentially. And it's just why? I get you're getting criticized on the internet, but fuck, sometimes the way they would just react, it's like you just asked them a really personal question that shouldn't be asked. One guy on Twitter just fucking asked a completely harmless statement, and one random person just responds in the most sarcastic and cruel way, and it's just okay, he didn't really deserve that amount of spite, essentially, because it's again, it was just a simple fucking question. And then the Netflix account, just the Cowboy Bebop account, responds in such a sarcastic way that essentially agrees with the person who was being an asshole, and essentially spitting in the face of the guy who just simply asked a question. That should really tell you who was making the show. It was not for the fans. If they're gonna claim, oh, it's for the fans, bullshit. I call fucking bullshit. There's no way this was made for the fans. If they're gonna try to claim that, then no, they are lying to you. It's really depressing, because I feel like anime and manga could lead to so many good adaptations, because there's so many great stories to be adapted. And there are some. There's very few, but there are some, some that are not complete garbage. But there's not enough, and we haven't exactly had the anime adaptation boom the same way we've had with the comic book boom. But unfortunately, it's the same with video games. Just like what I have been talking about with Resident Evil, Cowboy Bebop, it's just the same shit, different day again. It's just another Netflix Death Note, and I fucking hate that movie too. I never talked about it because I wasn't on YouTube at the time, but trust me, if I was, oh boy, you thought I was angry with the Resident Evil stuff. Oh boy, you haven't seen me angry with the Netflix Death Note movie. I hate that movie. I know that there are worse movies out there, but that is in my list of movies that I personally hate, because I love Death Note so much. It is my favorite anime of all time, and they fucked it up. And it sucks, because now they did the same thing with Cowboy Bebop. And Cowboy Bebop does have a soft spot in my heart, because it was one of the first anime I really watched when I started my anime journey. I didn't grow up with anime, honestly. I grew up in the era of Toonami, but I didn't watch Toonami. A lot of it was just because I personally didn't find anime that interesting when I was young. Unless it was Ed, Edd n Eddy, Courage the Cowardly Dog, Johnny Bravo, Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy, Dexter's Laboratory. If it didn't have that, I wasn't really interested, kind of deal. It was that was the thing that kept my interest as a child, was those cartoons, movies, especially if it was the Mighty the Spider-Man movies, the original Raimi trilogy, or even if it wasn't movies, it was Power Rangers, then it would keep my attention. And unfortunately, anime just couldn't keep my attention. The closest one was Pokemon, but I wasn't the most dedicated fan, but I definitely did like it when I was a kid. Um, so I didn't really, so I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, they ruined my childhood because I grew up with Cowboy Bebop. I didn't. But when I did start getting into anime because I wanted to start watching it, Cowboy Bebop was one of the first ones that I watched because I heard everybody talk about how great it is and how much it really set the standard for anime and how much it changed and really much caused this, what was essentially known as the Japanimation revolution in America, especially when Toonami and Adult Swim started uh, having programming that had anime. So, again, there is a bit of a soft spot. So it sucks to see such a great classic completely fucking butchered by people who clearly don't know what they're doing or only knew what to adapt in the most surface level way possible, but completely forgetting what made the stories so great. And maybe there will be a time where I will sit down, especially now that it's been canceled. It's like I don't have to worry about, like, oh, if I watch it, I'm technically supporting the series kind of deal, or like, oh, what if my view, helps dip in the, in the direction of season 2, but it's canceled, it's done for, dunzo, I don't have to worry about that shit anymore. So, I can simply just watch the show and eventually maybe talk about it. Maybe, I don't know, because honestly, because it's a TV series, it's not a movie where it's just like, well, that's just 1 to 2 hours of my life wasted. This is a TV series. This means having to watch an episode, especially with them being, I think, an hour-long episodes, I believe so. I don't know. I may be wrong. But, having to watch that, and then not to mention, too, getting footage, writing details about the episode, especially if writing my own notes on them, and that just seems like, to really put it simply, like, even when it came to Loki, I just went predominantly off of memory, which was still fresh in my mind because I just watched the series, but I didn't feel like rewatching it because that series is so fucking boring. So, but with something like this that genuinely has pain and cringe, yeah, that doesn't seem very fun to me. So I don't know. That's one that, if you guys really want me to, talk about Cowboy Bebop, let me know. That is one that you guys are gonna have to be the one to tell me, like, yes, I would love to see you talk about Cowboy Bebop, the Netflix series. So if you don't, then don't tell me. But if you do, then let me know, because then maybe eventually I will get around to it, or maybe I will, do it kind of deal. Now that the series especially has been canceled and everything, so don't have to worry about, like, don't watch this if you don't want a second season or don't want to support this, because it's been shit canned, it's been thrown in the garbage. Netflix has, Pontius Pilate wiped, they have washed their hands of the blood, they have finally gotten rid of it. And I think this ultimately kind of shows, too, like, that I really feel like if Netflix is smart, they really need to stop the anime adaptations, because, Jesus Christ, it's not working out for them. They have, have they even had a successful one? Netflix Death Note was not that successful. They keep saying it's going to get a sequel, which, why? Why would you want to do that? And then there was the Netflix Full Metal Alchemist movie that they did, which barely anybody talked about. Did anybody even remember that they made a TV series, a Mob Psycho 100 kind of deal? Really has not been a very huge success for them, so I feel like they really should stop. They've got a One Piece anime adaptation coming out. Honestly, if I was them, I would just jump ship. Pun very much intended. Because why? They don't have any, from what I have heard, they only have the cast and a few scripts. And personally, I feel like they should just take that as a sign to then just completely abandon. To just leave it be, don't do it, it's a bad idea, there's no way it's going to work. If you couldn't make something as simple as Cowboy Bebop work, what makes you think you can do One Piece? Like, that is going to be an impossibility because you're going to have to strip down a lot of stuff and make things different. Because I'm not the biggest One Piece fan. I barely started it a few years ago. I'm still stuck on season 1. But just from what I have seen, yeah, this is going to be a difficult one to adapt. And I don't get it. I don't get why they're so invested in these anime adaptations. Granted, I get it because technically the comic book boom has already been conquered. You know, Disney owns Marvel, Warner Brothers owns DC Comics, all the different independent properties from Image and Dynamite Comics and what's that one comic, Valiant Comics, you know, all the different ones, Boom Studios, all their different independent properties, either not as popular or they've already been snatched up by other companies. So the comic book gold rush is essentially wearing down. So I get that video games and anime are, you know, the last bastion because there's not a lot of companies that own these properties. And I get that, but at the same time too, maybe you shouldn't be so quick to rush in because it's clear maybe we're just not at the technology level and maybe we're just not at the level enough to get anime adaptations right. Because anime is like, with a lot of these properties, they're in their own world, man. They're just like completely out there sometimes. So I don't see this going very well for a lot of companies, both Netflix and not Netflix. So yeah, they have that coming out, and to be honest, I think they should just abandon ship on that one because, like I said, right now the biggest thing that Netflix has in their respective television shows for like their properties are Squid Game, Arcane, which was a surprise hit, Stranger Things, which even then, like, many people wouldn't consider season 3 their favorite, and The Witcher, which is coming out, which at the time that I'm recording is coming out next week. I mean, literally the same day as Spider-Man. So that's the thing, is you have those are 4 things that Netflix has, and even then it's one of those things where they can either screw up one of them or that'll be it for some of them. And Tiger King, they still have Tiger King because they just greenlit another season for that one. So they don't really have as much as they do. They can't use the Marvel stuff because that's been reverted back to Disney, so they can't exactly use that. They can't grovel their way back to Marvel and say, like, maybe please use them again after, well, they just completely canceled all the shows, and, well, Marvel couldn't really use a lot of the characters for quite a while, so I imagine Disney's not going to want to go back to that deal. So Netflix right now is in kind of in trouble because, like I said, they only have very few things that are keeping them afloat. In many ways, people could make the argument that Squid Game probably helped save the pretty much the streaming service, because right now everybody's talking about HBO Max, everybody's talking about Disney Plus, everybody's, you know, talking about other things. You know, even Amazon's kind of getting some stuff that could kind of rival Netflix. You know, Netflix can't get complacent anymore. They need to step up their game because they've got other competition. Because, like I said, HBO Max is quickly starting to become, like, for many, the definitive streaming service, especially even though next year they're going to get rid of the simultaneous release strategy. They still have a lot of series coming out, a lot of movies coming out, and again, their streaming service just isn't too bad. It's got quite a lot of good titles on it. So Netflix really needs to step up their game if they're going to want to compete, and I don't think shitty anime adaptations are going to do it, especially if you're going to cancel them after only a few weeks. That's especially the hilarious thing, is this series got canceled even though it just barely came out. It just came out a few weeks ago, and now the series is dead in the water already. Like, that really shows you how much of a fucking disaster this series truly was, and how much of a shitstorm the entire reputation of this series had, when literally only a few weeks in, the show is already canned. I mean, that is amazing to me. I mean, that's gotta be a new record, or maybe up there in the records of quickest cancellations I've ever seen for a show. Like, that just shows you how much Netflix knew they're not going to be able to convince people to come back for a second season, because trust me, even the normies that have, that don't really watch anime or even like Cowboy Bebop or kind of deal, like, even for many of them, this was a hard sell for them. So it's very clear they can't get the anime fans, and they can't even get the general audience. So it's very much a, who is this show for? Because, like I said, there's so much about it that just screams, we don't know what the fuck we're doing, So, yeah, Netflix Cowboy Bebop canceled. Thanks for the good news. So, we just got Charlie Cox back as Daredevil, and now this series is gone. The good news keeps coming. And Alan Wake 2 has also been confirmed, which I'm excited, boy. I've been waiting for this series to come back for years, man, since the 360 days. So, just the news keeps coming, man. The news keeps coming, and we're only a week away from No Way Home, so yeah, now we can finally now let this discourse of Cowboy Bebop finally just finally die, man. Just because the discourse on it on the internet has been frustrating, to say the least. It has just been a fucking minefield to navigate. It was not fun, and granted, most internet discussions nowadays are not fun, but, this one was a special kind, because especially some of the stuff where it was like, it was meant to be bad, like, is fucking ridiculous to me. So, yeah, if you're someone who's been debating watching the anime, just watch it. Don't get over the fact that it's an anime. Watch it. It's a great series. Not to mention, too, it's one of the few series that people would actually tell you to watch it in the dub because it's better, kind of deal. And to be honest, I'm more of a sub kind of person. I like my subtitles. I like watching foreign media and subtitles. But I gotta say, Cowboy Bebop's dub is so good that I can only think of Steve Bloom as Spike Spiegel. He is Spike Spiegel to me. So, yeah, it's one that if you haven't seen it, you gotta watch it, man. Forget that it's even an anime. It's just essential television to watch. If you like Firefly, if you love your Star Wars, your kind of sci-fi action stuff, you're gonna love it. You're gonna like it. It's just a great show. So, yeah, that happened. That embarrassment came and went, so hope you guys enjoyed the video. Whoo, boy. Oh, that's it's good to see that that a bad show didn't last more than it should have. So thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. I will see you next time.